I really enjoy getting to do that. I really do. Good evening. It is Monday, April 15th. This is the regular monthly meeting of the McDowell County Board of Education, and we're all so glad that you folks are here. We have a lot of stuff to brag about and a lot of stuff to be informed about, and we hope that you'll uh, take the time to stay with us this evening. Our first order of business is to approve tonight's agenda, and board, you have that in front of you. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Mumal makes a motion to approve, and Ms. Poupeau makes a motion to approve, and Ms. Mumal makes the second. Is there any discussion? None. All in favor then, right hand, and the motion carries. At this time, it's become our tradition to take just a few moments before we begin our meetings to bow our heads and close our eyes and sit together in silence as we think about the day that has been and the day that is yet to come. And this evening, I'm going to ask Ms. Silver to get you folks to please be mindful of some people that McDowell County Schools owes a great debt of gratitude.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tonight, as we go into our moment of silence, the community of Old Fort Elementary, took quite a loss last Sunday morning as Jill Young, 28 years of service to the Old Fort community, Old Fort Elementary, passed away after a courageous battle with cancer. And she leaves behind her husband, Patrick, and their son, Daniel, and Patrick's mom, Joan Knight, who was a 20-year employee of McDowell County Schools in our nutrition, payroll, and accounts payable department, passed away today. And so again, when we think about people that have touched as many lives as this family has, there's not a bigger advocate for arts in the schools than Jill Young. And as we go to this moment of silence, we just ask that everybody would remember their families, Patrick and Daniel especially.
All right. So may we sit together? And thank you all. Next item also is our tradition here, is our pledge to the flag and the presentation of our colors, and our NJROTC cadets do that honor for us. And so if you folks will rise for the presentation of the colors. And Chief Campbell, would you lead our pledge this evening?
Yes, sir, I got you.
Thank you.
Okay, color guard post. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Guard, halt, right, face, post the colors.
Thank you. And aren't they a sharp group? Thank you, cadets and chief. You need to say anything?
We got some stuff to say. Is it time now?
Well, I'm sure everyone's just dying to know who these fine young people are.
My name is Anthony Escalera, the commander of the rifle team. I'm standing here today representing our marksmanship team that qualified for all service championships, and present are Summer Wyatt, Savannah Mello, Sarah Weemon Steiner, and Cole Cook. This whole process to qualify for all service started in November with 8,000 units and 3,200 teams, which by January, after a series of tournaments, reduced to 23 teams, and we had 2 teams qualify out of those 23. The top 7 NJ ROTC teams advanced, and our teams finished 3rd and 11th, which qualified us for a team in Ohio. And that match we placed 3rd out of 28 teams.
All right.
I do want to say this is out of a total of 8,000 NJR or ROTC units, not just Navy, but all the different ROTC units. They did very, very well. So,
yes. Good job, man.
All right, today we're going to be presenting an award. So for Cole Cook. Anthony Escalera. Miss Savannah Mello. Miss Steiner. And Miss Summer Wyatt.
On behalf of the superintendent and the Board of Education, congratulations.
Okay. All right. Cadets, thanks again.
Thank you.
Okay. So we'll continue on with our meeting this evening then. And next up, item 5, I'll turn the floor over to Dr. Grit for the superintendent's remarks.
Thank you, Mr. English, ladies and gentlemen of the board, members out there with us tonight. We appreciate everybody being here with you or with us. Just a few things to go through tonight. We had a special treat with you tonight, recognizing our Teachers of the Year. Also, we just recognized our NJROTC team. And we have a group of instructional assistants who have been selected for a scholarship to earn a teaching degree. Their dedication and hard work, all of these groups' dedication and hard work have not gone unnoticed, and we're truly grateful for their contributions to our community. I'm delighted to share the positive outcomes of our budget work session last week. Our Board of Education and County Commissioners met over breakfast to discuss the needs of our schools this upcoming year. The Commissioners acknowledge our significant gains with our universal pre-K, a testament to our commitment to early childhood education. We also shared our progress with the Summit Academy and how the district made strategic financial decisions with our federal ESSER dollars, resulting in many facility upgrades. This demonstrates our commitment to providing a great learning environment for our students. I commend this board, Ms. Rampy, and the Executive Cabinet for their savvy budgeting, and thank you all for being good stewards of our funding. That budgeting goes long beyond me coming here, and that is definitely something to recognize. You guys have done a tremendous job with that. That said, the Universal Pre-K and the Summit Academy will come at a cost, and I want to recognize the sacrifices made at each of our schools to find avenues to support our students better. Principals, thank you. The opportunity to partner with the county, not only the West Marion Waterline Project, but also to help our students with smaller class sizes and keep great programs has presented itself, and we look forward to growing together with our county. We're coming up on a few important dates. Tomorrow, I plan to attend virtual superintendent's meeting to discuss the upcoming short session of our legislators. I will also participate in a regional meeting later this month where we would advocate for pre-K numbers counting for our schools. Folks, pre-K counts towards DHHS's numbers. They do not count towards our average daily membership. So we're going to advocate for that. Also going to advocate for teacher pay, specifically for our veteran teachers, many of them standing in the hall tonight, who were not shown as much love in the last budget session. We will also advocate for a universal math screener and an update to our accountability model. On April 24th, we celebrate Administrative Assistant Day, and as you know, we have one of the best supporting our work. Ms. Smith, I want to thank you, really thank you for all that you do to keep this machine rolling, especially with me standing here on crutches. A lot going on behind the scenes. Becky, we appreciate you. And I know that would be a sentiment of the board as well. On May 1st, we celebrate Principal Appreciation Day. Arguably, a principal is one of the most critical jobs in our district, and we had a great group of professionals who deserve recognition. In ongoing business, I'm excited to share that our district-level administrative book review process is coming together. In the next week, we will open a website where anyone can see all the books under review and the status of the work. Remember that the books will remain on hold until the school and the Community Book Review Committee have reviewed them. As an added layer, the books will receive a return to circulation status when they receive and or if they receive that status. We'll offer an option for parents. We will begin this process with the paperwork in the student handbook in the 2024-25 school year. We have several books to review, and the community support in this process is greatly appreciated. Finally tonight, I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude. As you can see from the crutches behind me, I had a little mishap and broke my kneecap. On Thursday, I underwent a surgical procedure to repair the damage. The amount of kindness and support that has been poured in from this community has been nothing short of overwhelming. Your support has been a source of strength and inspiration during this challenging time. Moments like these remind me why McDowell County is such a special place, and I am deeply grateful for the outpouring of support over the past weeks. Your support has made a significant difference, and I am truly appreciative. Board, thank you.
Okay. Dr. Gritt, thanks for those remarks, and we'll continue on with this evening. Next was we were going to officially recognize the NJROTC rifle team, but that kind of took care of itself earlier, so we will move along to staff recognitions. And I'd like to introduce Ms. Amy Dowdle, our Human Resources Director, and let her proceed from there.
Good evening, Mr. English, Ms. Poopaw, and esteemed members of the Board of Education. It is with great pleasure that I get to recognize and honor the exemplary educators who have been selected as the Teacher of the Years from their respective schools. These individuals have demonstrated unparalleled dedication, passion, and innovation in their classrooms, shaping the minds and futures of our students. Today, we celebrate their outstanding contributions to education and commend them for their tireless efforts. The Teacher of the Years are as follow. From Eastville Global Magnet School, Miss Madeline Davis. From East McDowell Middle School, Mr. Chris Wilson. From Foothills Community School, Miss Britta Grammer. From Glenwood Elementary School, Miss Christy Figueroa, who is stuck in traffic on Old Fort Mountain for about an hour and a half. She's almost here, so when she walks in, we'll make sure to recognize her and give her a round of applause. From Marion Elementary School, Miss Dara Ingram. From McDowell Academy of Innovation, Mr. Michael Smith. From McDowell Early College, Dr. Greg Kerr. From McDowell High School, Mr. Joey Hill. From North Cove Elementary, Miss Misty Trimbus. From Nebo Elementary School, Miss Taylor Stover. And now with her grand entrance, Miss Christy Figueroa. We are just thankful you can make it. And Mr. Michael Smith is right behind her, so we are thankful that he is here too. From Old Fort Elementary, we have Miss Louette Ruiz. From Pleasant Gardens Elementary, Miss Lynn Freeman. From West Marion Elementary, Miss Gabby Lancaster. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Shane Ramsey from West McDowell Middle School. These Teachers of the Year represent the very best of our educational system. Their unwavering commitment to excellence, innovation, and student success serves as an inspiration to us all. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to each of them for their outstanding contributions to education, and we look forward to seeing the positive impact they will continue to make in the lives of their students and the community at large. Thank you all so much for what you do each and every day. So as they're getting so as while you guys stand right there, as they stand up here, these folks were recognized on Thursday evening with our Night of Stars, our red carpet event. These and then something I want to say is that each one of these candidates were very, very close in scoring. It took us going back and re-looking at everything that they turned in, including their portfolios, including everything. We had to go back and check our numbers because they were so close. So just what an outstanding group of educators, and we are extremely blessed to have you in McDowell County Schools. So thank you. Sure, Miss Silver.
Yeah, I never pass up the lemon. I just want to say, personally, not many people have done this job that you do, and I'd like to say that I did the job that you did, but it's been 7 years since I've been in a classroom, and that classroom has changed so much. And I want to tell you that you don't hear it enough, but you are the absolute heroes of society because you show up for kids when other people walk away. And I want to tell you that each one of you are my teacher of the year because of what you do. People in the community may not notice, people in the community may not tell you, but I want you to know that you're all changing the future every day because of what you get up and go do. And I just want to thank you so much on behalf of my family for what you do.
Thank you, guys. There's the next group of folks that we would like to recognize are our instructional assistants. So the teacher assistants to teacher tuition reimbursement pilot, TAs to teachers, was established in the 2016-17 fiscal year for select local school administrative units to assist teacher assistants who wanted to pursue a college degree, and that will result in teacher licensure. Tuition assistance awards under the program may be provided for part-time or full-time coursework. Additionally, each local Board of Education participating in the pilot program may select up to 5 teacher assistants to receive an award or up to $4,600 per academic year for a period of up to 4 years to be used towards the cost of tuition and fees. A teacher assistant receiving an award under this program shall fulfill the student teaching requirements of the educator preparation program by working in the teacher assistant employing local school administrative unit. A teacher assistant may continue to receive salary and benefits while student teaching in the local school administrative unit. The local Board of Education shall set criteria for the application and selection of teacher assistants to receive the Tuition Assistance Award. Each applicant here submitted a written essay sharing why they wanted to be a teacher and also participated in an interview. We are proud to then announce the following instructional assistants are the TA to teacher recipients for McDowell County Schools. First up, we have Miss Rebecca Carter. Next, we have Miss Desiree Draper. Miss Renee Massengill. Miss Jessie Clark, and I do not believe that she's with us tonight. Miss Sierra Ledford. Miss Tina Thompson. And last but certainly not least, Miss Reagan Wall. So what I want to say about these ladies that have applied for this and received this tuition reimbursement is that they are working and going back to school. So while they are taking a full-time or even part-time responsibilities working, that they are going back to gain their degree, which is a very difficult thing to do with family and responsibilities. But each one of these applicants were absolutely amazing. Normally is 5 applicants, but this year, because McDowell County Schools was in the original pilot, they opened it up and let us be able to submit anyone in our district who has gone back to do this program, and so every one of ours was awarded the tuition reimbursement. So as a part of that reimbursement, then they commit to teaching in McDowell County Schools, and we are more than excited to have them. We have 2 of these folks that will be exceptional children certified, and the rest are classroom teachers. So we are just extremely, extremely proud of your hard work. So very well deserved.
Ms. Diddle, before those folks sit down, I just want to say how proud I am of you guys, and I know what kind of level of commitment that takes. Going back to school and having families and people at home, it's a big deal. And I'm very proud of you, and I think you guys are going to represent us great. And to be honest with you, I wish everybody could have the experience of being a teacher assistant first, because you've had a great opportunity to know what job's ahead of you. And I know that there's going to be a moment when you may think it's tough, or when it gets hard along the way. But please know that you've got some staff at your school, you've got teachers in your school, you've got staff at our central office. We want to help you make sure that you guys are successful with this program. So don't hesitate to reach out in those times. And we appreciate you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Okay. Once again, on behalf of the board, we're just so proud of the people that engage kids each day, whether it's a teacher assistant or a teacher, and to be able to recognize these folks this evening. It just really speaks to the level of commitment from our staff to their students and their students' families. Okay. Item 8 is a presentation from Ms. Pat Gross and some McDowell High School students about a recent trip they took. Is that right? Okay.
So, good afternoon, guys. My name is Autumn Anderson. I am the commanding officer of the NJRTC unit, so you may have seen my face a couple times this year before.
And I'm Zach Beam.
And we are two of the representatives out of the 14, 15 students that went from McDowell to Dubourg this year, and we're just very excited to share some of the stuff that we were able to see and do while we were over there. Okay, can we start? So, starting off strong, we had a lot of hardships on the first couple days. Traveled a lot, saw a few things. We were very grateful for this trip. Study abroad is definitely new to a lot of us. A lot of us haven't really left the state, I know. Some of us haven't even left the country. I know flying internationally wasn't new for me. And I know it was probably new for Zach too. It fostered our independence. It shaped us as characters. There was language barriers that we encountered, which was very new because that's not something common around here. Skills, we met a lot of new people, we made friendships, and a lot of the experiences helped us shape skills that we already had. We were just never able really to put to use in our county alone.
Yep. As far as the traveling went, I think it was a very good opportunity just to be able to travel across the country to Germany. A lot of the kids were talking about how they haven't had that opportunity before, and how they really enjoyed just being able to get on an airplane and just travel and see. I remember as we was traveling over there, there would just be people staring out the windows just in amazement because they've never got to do that before. So even some of the smaller things before you even get to Germany they were very appreciative of.
Definitely being on a train for such long periods of time, being on a plane for 10 hours was definitely new for a lot of us. Some of us were a little anxious and a little insane by the time we got off of those rides, but we were definitely grateful to actually get to Germany and meet our hosts for the first time.
I believe catching trains is like almost a fun thing. I think there's so much things that were so different, and you had to definitely know what you was doing.
So after the first couple days of travel, we met our families that Friday evening, and we got to spend the weekend with them. Our teachers that went with us gave us challenges each day to kind of get us familiar with the culture over there. So day one, which is probably the most favorite and most popular, was foods that we tried. Because we definitely had a lot of things that we've never had over here. Everything over there was much more fresh. It was much more homemade. Fast food restaurants don't exist over there the way they do over here. So we definitely had a lot of firsts making food with them, baking with them, hitting corner stores with them and flea markets markets because those are so popular over there, and it was just really fun.
There was also, well, first thing, the food was amazing. It was very good. They had a lot of different types of food too. I tried Vietnamese food. Last night I was there. My host took me to one of the most popular Vietnamese restaurants there, and it was very good. I tried duck for the first time. A lot of the meals that we got to try was a lot of new foods. I got to try tuna, which is Turkish, and it is probably one of the best sandwiches I've ever had. So by far, the food was one of my favorites for sure.
Continuing with that, there was no shortage of foods. We tried different things every single day. But on day 2, we had an observation challenge. That was the Saturday and Sunday combo where we got to stay with our host family specifically, so we didn't get to see each other because we weren't out of school yet. So I know my host family took me to Denmark that weekend. So we were able to visit a few places in Denmark that we weren't able to visit with the group as a whole. And I think your family did the same thing.
Yeah, so we luckily my host was he had a lot of friends that were also hosting. So a lot of the American students that went over there all got to be together, and it was really fun because we got to just hang out, kind of learn their culture because there's so much differences, if you look in the top part, that top picture right there, that's when we went to a restaurant in Denmark, and they had like a live trees in their restaurant, which kind of blew me away. We went on several bike rides, which they have several roads where they can just go and ride bikes for however long they want to, which I thought was amazing. Definitely made me want to come back home and start riding my bike a lot more.
One of the major things that we wanted to do on day 3 was to kind of attempt to break the language barrier, because I know myself, I was very nervous talking to people who I could barely speak to because it was that broken English that they had. So we had to do a conversation challenge. The big slideshow right in the middle is the one that I had. My 2 host families and I, because I had the opportunity to stay with 2 girls instead of 1, went out into the community and we interviewed a handful of people. What we thought they kind of stereotyped America, how they felt about Americans traveling over to Germany, so on and so forth. And some people liked our presence, some people didn't. But it was kind of like a 50-50 thing because we got to see how we were viewed from their perspective, and we got to tell them how we viewed them, considering our countries are so different.
Also, with the language barrier, she mentioned that they had a lot of broken English, which was true. I think it was really cool how they pronounce certain things because they have the language barrier, but a lot of them, they said that English is their 3rd language, which blew me away because a lot of them speak Danish and German, and then they learn English from like 4th grade on up, and it was really cool. A lot of us, as soon as we got there, we just started trying to learn as many phrases as we could. Just how are you? How's your day going? And so on and so forth. It was pretty tough. Later on in the week, we was able to pick up certain words though.
Later on in the week, when we actually got familiar with our host families and we completed these challenges, we had the opportunity to collaborate with them and form presentations comparing Germany to America. So the pictures on the left are kind of some of the photos we took and added into our presentations, which are mainly from the very first day on that Monday when we were actually able to visit the school, which was very welcoming. They flew the American flag for us. They were very warm, open hands, and it was a very lovely experience. And the first day of school was definitely different compared to America. Their education system is built on completely different foundations compared to America. You can't really compare the 2 though, because what we have over here is completely different than what they have over there. We have normalized like CTE classes and extracurriculars. That's not something they do over there, which kind of caught me off guard. They kind of focused hard on academics and not so much like broadening their expanse while they're young. That's kind of something they do in college, which I thought was really cool.
Yes, the school was really, it was a really big school. It was really nice. Grand piano in the lobby. It was a very nice school. I got the opportunity to go to a Danish class first thing, and I remember sitting in the class just trying to soak in every bit of it. It was a really, really good opportunity just to go there for the day of their school and try to see how they go about their classes. It's a lot different too.
And try to compare it to you guys. It's a very conservative area up there. It's so close to Denmark and they're so close together. And the size of Flensburg and their school is roughly the same size as Asheville, but the atmosphere there is completely different. This is when we were able to visit. Is it the North Sea? Yeah, we were able to visit the North Sea. We were able to take a couple tours of Denmark, go to explore Danish cities, and kind of just visit a couple museums. We went to a Viking museum, and we went to an art exhibit place. which had 9 levels of different exhibits, and it was really cool.
It was really good to see the Viking Museum there, learn about all types of history that was in a whole different country from then. You can see us all up there. We're having a ball. We all got to put the Viking hats on, as well as the beach. The beach that we went to was a lot different because it was a long walk to the actual ocean. It was a whole how far would you say? It was a long way. A couple football fields to the water. So it was a lot different seeing that compared to here at home. Yes. Yes. They was telling me though, depending on the timing, the water will raise up all the way. So it was really cool seeing that.
We had to travel quite a distance to get to these museums each day that we went. So we would do a bunch of challenges on the bus for Miss Gross's, kind of deciding there. And one of them, which was not very light, was we had to learn a German phrase and write it down on a piece of paper and kind of draw it out. And I cannot remember my phrase to save my life, but it was definitely embarrassing. I cannot speak a lick of German or anything.
No, I can't. I struggle with the pronunciation over there for sure. You can see there in that picture, there was a girl there that was drawing a diagram of a boy and or a king, I guess. And so she heard about the challenge, and she's like, "Okay, we'll use this for an example." And so she wrote down the German red-hit king. And they mixed kind of with the hair, I guess. But yeah, I got to be able to say that. But it was really fun. It was a good trip.
And then, like we mentioned earlier, we were able to create presentations and share them with everybody, and it was kind of cool, kind of seeing how each individual had a perspective, especially the students that came over to America. Because I remember one specific thing, which is all the German kids that came over here despise biscuits and gravy. Okay, that's all they talked about in their presentations when it came to the food section, is how they was not a fan of American cuisine, but it was also really popular for the kids over here to take them to fast food chains, which is not existent over there, so they were not a fan of that, which I can respect. But it was fun. We were able to find some postcards throughout different little mini marts and take photos of those of different places throughout Germany, and it was really cool.
I think it was really good to be able to like kind of go about the whole week learning the differences, but at the end he was able to have the academic perspective and just put it all on a presentation and really like. I know me, my host, and myself, and our group, we really dove into the presentation point and really went over certain differences that we have compared to the Germans.
And by the end of the week, we had a few fun activities because a lot of our morale was down because we'd never been away from home for so long, especially 4,000 miles away, which very new and very different and very scary. But a couple of the museums had little kid areas, which we entertained ourselves with. And it was a really great way to end that Thursday.
There was also, if you look at that picture, there is a big cultural difference in what they wear. A lot of their clothes are rather like baggy. They're kind of dependent on. They don't have like tight jeans. It's not like a thing in there. And especially with the youth, they don't like it one bit. So they would take us to a bunch of these stores, and we'd get to shop around and look at some of the good clothing that they have, what they think is cool.
That's a couple of the students that weren't able to attend us tonight, how they kind of thought about Dubourg. The architect over there was absolutely beautiful. It was one of those things where you would see a building and it could just be a random apartment, and you do a double take because of how pretty it was. A lot of the students were just amazed at the informality a lot of teachers and students had, especially at school.
They had a whole lot of old buildings as well. So we visited a church that was built in 1757, which is the more I think about it, the more it amazes me. And then what they do is they put the date somewhere on the building, like in big numbers, to where you could pass by the church and see 1757, and then if they ever renovate or make certain improvements, they put the new date above it. So we passed some houses that were built in the 1927, and then it have 2005 on above it. So it's really cool to travel through some of like the villages and see that.
And this is pretty much the end. We just kind of want to boil it down to the fact that at the end of the day, it's teenagers getting to experience teenagers from the other side of the world. Despite the fact that we had a lot of challenges getting there and coming back, despite the fact that, there was language barriers, we were unfamiliar with one another, we're teenagers, and we were able to relate to each other at the end of the day. Adaptability was probably the biggest skill that I learned, especially with how many issues we had getting back home with trains going on strike and just like the confusion of it all. But we're extremely grateful for the support of the Board of Education, Ms. Gross especially, for having to deal with us, as well as Mr. Spivey and Ms.
Mr.
Spivey.
and Mrs. Spivey.
We very much so appreciated you guys, and I know that this is your last year, Mr. Spivey, so we hope you enjoyed it.
The torch has been passed.
But we thank the county, especially for all that you guys have done for us in support and funding this trip, because we hope that other students will able to do this in the future.
Yes, thank you all so much.
All right.
I'm just curious, can we ask you guys a couple questions real quick? Yeah. So, first of all, I am really grateful for all of the staff and principals and everybody that works on getting you guys there, because I do think it makes a difference. I remember the first time I traveled abroad, it's eye-opening. It really is. And to do that at such a young age, I just think is a wonderful gift. And I do hope that students that follow you get to do the same thing. So I have one fun question and then just maybe a little bit more serious, but well, maybe two serious questions. But what do you think would be like, now that you look at the education system in Germany and you look at your experience, if there's one thing that you would change, what would it be about our education system? Not theirs, but about ours.
I think it's definitely the atmosphere that the school had.
Okay.
Because there's a real lack of informality. And
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's something that you could really implement over here, because we're South, we're raised on the whole say miss, ma'am, sir, no sir, all of that. But they wouldn't call their teachers by their last name. They would just refer to their teachers by their first name. And it kind of created that comfort atmosphere in a sense. Like, I don't really view him as my teacher. I can also view him as my friend.
Okay.
And vice versa. So I think it kind of just like allowed students to be more vocal in class, because I know there's a lot of students in McDowell County that are like, I have a question, but I'm too nervous to ask because I don't really know this teacher. That wasn't really an issue over there.
They talk all that different to their teachers too. It's more of, like she says, more of like a friendly basis, which has positives but also has a lot of negatives too.
Okay.
I think as far as respect, but it's kind of like how they take it into account. But I think they're a lot more closer and have that personal relationship with their teachers.
Okay.
One of the things I would probably change is probably dive deeper into other countries' politics or geography, because they knew a lot. They study they said that they study our politics, our former presidents, our election this year, whatever it may be. Like
Right.
they have classes set to where and not just America but other countries as well.
Nice.
So yeah,
Okay.
I'll say that's probably.
And I think it's Miss Anderson, right? Yes. One thing that you said in the beginning is that you learned a lot of skills that you think you'll take on for the rest of your life. So I'm curious from both of you, what skill do you think that you've learned that's going to impact you the most for the rest of your life?
Definitely confidence, like she said. But for me personally, I'm pursuing a career in the military.
Okay.
So I will be traveling abroad a lot. And I think being able to hone that skill in at a young age, and with people my own age as well, traveling like that, definitely kind of ease the pressure I would have experienced in my early adulthood, having to do that on my own.
Great.
But now I'm familiar with it, and it's kind of like a skill I have under my belt. Like, I can traverse a train station. I can do the same thing at an airport internationally. So
Nice.
It's kind of something I learned.
She also mentioned skill of adaptability. I think that was one of the key things that really I needed to hold on to. Just going over to a different country, different language, different, whether it's different clothes, different food, the way they present themselves, whatever it was, the way you can adapt to certain situations, like if they said with the trains of traveling or whatever it may be, if the challenges are right, how you kind of handle them and go about it, and always keep like a positive mindset towards it.
Okay, and favorite food? I'm just curious.
Okay.
I haven't made it to Germany yet. That's why I want to know. What's your favorite food?
It was, like I said, it was like a Turkish sandwich. They call it duna. It's spelled D-O-N-E-R. Like the E has like 2 dots above it. It was amazing. They have it's like kebab, where they have like big steaks where they have just meat, and they shave it off into freshly baked bread, and they pile it full of all different types of vegetables, and it's almost like how they have like the kiosk where you get to pick what you have on your meal. It's kind of like that, but on like a larger scale, and the sauces they have, and it was all just freshly baked. It was amazing.
It's good.
And then my favorite, which is probably kind of like a stereotype of what we heard over here in America, was Wiener Schnitzel.
Okay.
Which is kind of like the pork cutlet thing, which
Yes.
is the equivalent of like a fried pork chop over here, but it was kind of like a
Nice.
Yeah, it was really good.
Good. Well, we thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you.
Well done, guys. Thank you.
Ms. Gross, you or Mr. Spivey have anything you need to add?
Mr. Spivey did an exceptional job navigating some of the old programmers that had nothing to do with us. So, who knew trained people were going to go on strike? Like that, we were all like, "What is happening right now?" But the folks at the school, our cooperating teachers, they were amazing. Christian and Daniel, um, they helped us like get with the kids, get with their students to make sure our kids had housing, and so we could leave Lindsberg. Mr. Spivey made friends with the train ticket guy and got us tickets on the first train out of there the next day, so that was good. And it was an amazing experience. It was fun for me to watch the kids. I think sometimes as an adult you go, yeah, yeah, whatever. But when you see it through their eyes, when they're looking out the plane window and going, oh, that's so cool. Then you kind of remember the first time you flew and you get excited again. So it was a great experience. I'm very thankful to the Spiveys for, all the work they did on it. And thank you guys for your continued support.
Quite well.
Mr. Spivey, are the trains still as punctual that you can set your watch by them?
They are very punctual to the point that if they're off by 30 seconds, you will receive a text that they are off by 30 seconds. We almost missed a train on our way in because our train was running late, the other train was running early, and we stepped off one train and stepped on the other, very quickly moving 18 folks. That train travel for me is more nervous than anything because the train stops for 2 minutes and then it's moving. And so you have to get everybody on. Don't let Miss Anderson sell herself short. I believe she ran the orienteering team for a while here at the high school ROTC. And if you need somebody to navigate 20 people through an airport or a train station, you tell that young lady where you need to go and she's on.
That's great.
Well, I want to tell you a story. In 1977, I was in the Air Force and got assigned to Germany, in Wiesbaden, Germany. And when I got there, I'd always wanted to go, but you're right about the language barrier. It's quite different. I landed in Frankfurt, and then I had to get somebody to take me to Wiesbaden, to the Air Force base. But let me say this. When I got there, I wanted to take a nap and hope I was just having a bad dream and I'd wake up and I'd be back in America. But I'm telling you what, I stayed there 2 years and I absolutely loved it. And you're absolutely correct about the food. It is phenomenal.
Garrett, could you email us that slideshow to the board? There's just some blackmail photos of my daughter I would like to have from there that I have not seen until right now.
We have more.
Okay. Please share.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it's time for our report from our teacher representative, Miss Mary Ann Basley. And Miss Basley, you're going to have a hard time keeping up with this bunch tonight. But you do such a wonderful job. We can't wait.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Good evening. I'm going to talk to you guys about great things happening at Glenwood and Nebo Elementary. First up is Glenwood. And they started off several events that they've had in the last couple of months. The first one is Read Across America. And they had several community members come in to read to their classes. Next up, they had Pie Day, and the math teacher in me loves this. They had pies to celebrate with their staff for March 14th. They hosted kindergarten registration, and they had a wonderful turnout and lots of fun. They had a super cute theme. I loved that with Eric Carl. But they had lots of activities for their future dragons. Activities included their special area staff that helped. They got to ride the bus. I know my former kindergartner, loved to ride the bus when we did kindergarten registration, and then they got to visit their future classrooms. They received a Lego grant, and this grant was valuing over $13,000 for their STEM classroom. There were Duplo blocks for their younger learners, sets for students to utilize at home, classroom sets, expansion packs, tons of information, Prime robots with further expansion packs. I'm not sure what that is, but I know that the kids will because they love Legos. But this was a great opportunity for them, and they also received notebooks for the classes so that they could keep track of their work with engineering journals. Glenwood Elementary has a Sunshine Committee, and it is responsible for planning monthly social gatherings for their staff so they can get to know each other, fellowship, and boost their staff morale. This year, they have gone to the Blanton House, Grove Park Inn. They've had a paint party, a crochet class, a cake decorating class, and they will have a manicure and nail evening soon. Their resource officer, Mr. Joey Vaughn, hosted a question and answer night for their TIMS program. The TIMS program stands for Teaching Life-Serving Lessons, Improving Quality of Life, and Maintaining a Safe and Learning Environment. Various community members were on the panel for these questions. Next up is Nebo Elementary. And I feel like presenting for Nebo was like the perfect time because they just wrapped up their program for One School, One Book. So on January 11th, the students came in and their school, their classrooms, and throughout the building was decorated. Their staff were dressed up as farm animals, farmers, or in winter gear, and no one really said why. So the students were all starting to wonder. Students learned about their school-wide activity, the One School, One Book project, and all students from preschool to 5th grade were given a book to take home. The book was titled The Adventure of the South Pole Pig. So throughout this, each night students were to read with their families. We've got several photos here of students taking these home and having family time to read. They would answer discussion questions from different staff in the building throughout days that they were there based off their reading that they had done at home. The school wanted to do something to celebrate the end of their literacy adventure, so they had a school fundraiser, and Dr. Koymans agreed to kiss a pig, and this was right before spring break. All they needed to do was raise at least $800. The grade level that earned the most money would get to tape Dr. Koymans to the wall, and the class that earned the most money would get to enjoy an ice cream party. So they asked friends and family to donate, and they raised over $900. The first graders raised the most money, so they were able to tape Dr. Koymans to the wall. And the classroom that raised the most money to get the ice cream party was Miss Waugh's class. I thought this was wonderful. The students were able to complete a project about their school-wide book. Nebo organized an evening where families could come and view the projects and students could share their learning. There's several pictures of their projects and some of the activities that they had. Students were able to complete their reading and their projects at home and then come to school to talk about it. And usually it's the opposite. Usually you do all this work at school and go home and tell your family, and they got to do the opposite there. So families got to come into the school building and see, which was wonderful. So this took place Thursday, February 15th. Their school organized this event. They had family activities in the gym. Grade levels performed a dance that they had learned in PE, and families were able to enjoy hot dogs, cotton candy, popcorn in the cafeteria, and they could participate in pig calling, cow calling, and spouse calling contests. So the families had a great time. All of the money raised in fundraising paid for every student at Nebo to go on a field trip to Brackett Farms and a picnic hosted by McDowell County Child Nutrition. Miss Tammy Dayton had also won and joined Dr. Crumans for the Kiss the Pig event. This was on March 28th, right before spring break. Next month, I will get to highlight McDowell High School and McDowell Virtual Academy. Thank you. I have a prior to photo. I do not have the actual event.
All right. Okay. Ms. Basney, thank you for that report. We're always glad to hear what you bring us each month. We'll move along then. Item 10 is unfinished business, and the board is considering whether to engage a group to do some study work for us. So, Dr. Grit, do we have everything lined up?
Yes, sir. We should have an online presentation from an NC State study group, the Institute for Transportation Research and Education, the ITRE group. And a proposal will be coming tonight. And you guys have seen that proposal from Mr. Thomas Dudley, and they are virtual with us there. I'll let, if you're ready for them, we'll let those guys take it away.
We're ready.
Okay, excellent. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Great, glad to hear that. Thank you, Dr. Grit, Chair English, other members of the board. I'm Thomas Dudley, and I'm joined by my colleague, Mr. Brian Godfrey. We're both school planners who work for ITRE in Raleigh. And what we prepared for this evening is just a brief presentation to talk through our organization and what we propose for your school district. This is intended to be informal, so please, if you have questions, ask them along the way. We'll begin with a quick introduction to the two of us, followed by discussing our organization, our approach, our services, as well as a relevant case study from Rockingham. Speaking to myself first, again, I'm Thomas Dudley. I've been a school planner for about 10 years and leading ITRE School Planning Group for about 5. I'm joined by my colleague, Mr. Godfrey, who has a background as being a municipal planner, and glad to have him as a land use planner as part of his work and my group. From there, we'll discuss ITRE, which again is the Institute for Transportation Research and Education. It's a university research extension, part of NC State University, and housed on NC State Centennial Campus in Raleigh. Our little group is called ORED, which is a school planning group. We're an unbiased third-party evaluation group that helps depoliticize school planning, in short. And we're able to do that through the services that you see listed there in bold. This is our client list. You can see we've had the privilege of working with quite a few districts over the history of the program. If you want to see what that looks like visually, we have a map as well. So this ends up being working with about 10 to 12 districts a year, every year. And you can see many of these also we've worked with on a regular basis. And so what do these services entail? Well, we're talking about enrollment forecasting, which is something we're able to do because of the foundation of land use studies that we conduct, speaking with planners and other experts in the district. From there, we do GIS analysis, which is Geographic Information Systems, working with that data. And that helps us create what we call an adequacy table, which is a school level forecast. From there, we also offer and use several types of mathematical optimization, both for school site configurations as well as working with attendances. To highlight those in a little bit more detail, speaking to enrollment forecasting, we can talk about the district level as well as breaking that down to the school level. And the way that we're able to do that, and I think what separates us is we know it's very important to incorporate local knowledge into the work that we do, speaking with planners and other experts in the district who have the knowledge of where, for example, new residential developments are going to occur within the district. To speak to that in a little bit more detail as a tangible result, I'll move to the next slide here, which is an example deliverable that we created for Chatham County Schools. This is a typical sort of our bread and butter. And what we like about this out of capacity table is it's a quick visual way for the district to see where your needs are and where they will be in the future as well from a facility standpoint. So working our way from left to right, we have the name of the school, the capacity of the school. We have as well the membership of the school. And then going off to the right, we have the forecasted membership of how many students to expect at each one of these schools based on the factors that I've highlighted so far. And that coloring in the background is based on utilization. So just the number of students divided by the capacity of the school. So that gives you a quick insight into which of your schools are going to be overcrowded and at what point in time. Next, again, I keep harping on the land use study and the importance of that because it's one of the things that separates us. So it'd be one thing to look at the history of your membership, the history of your enrollment, and model forward what those things will do in the future. That's great and a great first stab at things. But from there, it also takes local knowledge, looking into residential developments and how that's going to shape the district over time. And we're able to do that through partnerships and collaboration with municipal and county planning agencies and the other experts that you see listed here. That's truly the heart of Brian's contribution to the group. From there, I skipped ahead here, let me go back one. From there, we also have optimization, as I briefly touched on before. I won't read all of this, but we have mathematical ways of modeling alternative building configurations, different ways of looking at your facilities and different options that may be afforded to the district. We also use optimization for new school siting as well as optimizing attendance zones, given different scenarios, different what ifs from a facility standpoint. And I just wanted to quickly highlight one case study that I believe is relevant for this district as an example of how we adjusted and how we adapted to the needs of the district we were working with. This is Rockingham County Schools and their table from several years ago. We were working with them as really they were the first district that we had worked with that was experiencing declines in enrollment and severe underutilization. In addition to the traditional table that you saw previously from Chatham, we introduced a new color for facilities that were below 80% utilization, sort of darker green color. And that set the stage and sort of started to establish what we were looking at and how we could help the district in terms of, well, they needed to repurpose a facility or multiple facilities. And what we saw as we looked into the details and the numbers more was especially in this region, which is the northeastern part of Rockingham County. You got the north there in the middle, that's Eden. And then to the eastern part, that's sort of the area north of Reedsville. What we noticed, we did this for all of the county, but what we noticed as part of this region in particular was there was a large gap between their capacity numbers, which was over 3,000 seats, versus their actual enrollment, which was forecasted to go down below 2,000 seats, or excuse me, 2,000 students. And as part of their full process, what we were able to do is provide data and analysis that helped the board make informed decisions about their facilities looking forward. What I will leave you with is just 2 slides acknowledging that as part of facility changes, student assignment tends to typically be affected one way or the other. And whether it's these different criteria that you see or priorities that you see listed here, we do everything that we can to help take the guesswork out and do recommendations and processes that help take the guesswork out of facility planning. And so as far as our contribution, what we directly assist with, we contribute to these ones that we have underlined on this slide directly, while we do everything that we can to help maintain feeder patterns, and we do several parts of our workflow the way we do to be able to respect neighborhoods, make sure neighborhoods are able to all go to, one neighborhood is able to all feed up into the same school, for example. And so this is just an active acknowledgement of facility planning and student assignment are not distinct things, they work together. And so with that, I wanted to just acknowledge again that we've had the privilege to work with quite a few districts through this process, and I just wanted to ask if there are any questions.
Any questions from the board or for the presentation? Anything need clarified? Okay. All right.
Real quick, what's the length of time to get a document back?
You may have to speak into the microphone, Mr. Abnett.
Thank you. What's the length of time that you project to complete?
So a typical project for us takes around 4 months. 4 to 5 months is a good standard timeline for us.
Okay. I can't wait.
How soon would you?
I think it's really exciting. So.
How soon would you be able to start if we were to pull a contract together real soon?
We could start almost immediately, certainly this month.
Fantastic.
I think one of the questions that the board needs to consider is in their proposals, they'd given us several different cost analysis on which direction they'd like to go. If you're considering it, my recommendation would be to go all in for the full service. I think if you're going to do something, you need to commit and do it, unless you guys felt otherwise. But and they could speak to those to exactly what I'm talking about there. If you want to just kind of give us a reminder of what the varying levels are there with that invoice that you guys sent over.
So like on your basic package, I know you priced it two different ways, like a basic package, and then there was an add-on component that you could also do for an extra fee. Could you kind of speak to the basic package, what you would do, and then in the additional package, what would be included in that?
Sure, absolutely. So the essential beginning that I've referred to several times there is the land use study. So speaking with the folks who have local knowledge in addition to doing our workflow for enrollment forecasting. So it's those two things. That's the essential first steps is land use study as well as enrollment forecasting and producing what you saw as far as those tables that project what your enrollment will be in the future. From there, the add-on that was listed is looking quantitatively at your facilities and exploring different configurations as far as these are the what-if scenarios. What ifs in terms of those conditions where you have capacity, where you don't have capacity, and exploring that in a defensible way. That would be the add-on.
Okay. Real quick, I'm assuming you produce a document, and it essentially would be a draft document that then a lot of eyes look at, and then you take it back and amend based on input, or is it done more in seclusion? I'm assuming the former.
So there are several deliverables. The only reason I'm pausing there is because there are several deliverables that we create. And so I think one of the major ones that'll be useful for a long time would certainly be the land use study report that goes through and documents what factors are affecting the district currently and what will in the future. As part of any deliverable, though, I mean, we do stress the importance of the district reviewing those, and I wouldn't say that any of our deliverables becomes the absolute final version until the senior staff and your superintendent has eyes on it. But from there, I mean, we do have a track record of producing deliverables that districts use for a long time.
And I would just remind the board that the architectural piece was not necessarily part of this study. So our facilities plan would coincide with this work, but that is our facility plan. And I know that was a question Ms. Mumon at one point had. So I did want to point that out. That's not exactly what you're going to get as far as the integrity of our current buildings.
Gotcha.
But what you will get is a lot of data and a lot of moving parts with this.
All right. Well, I do know that you fellows made this same presentation, or perhaps a more detailed one, to our Building and Facilities Committee. Mr. Suttles, you're chair of that committee. Well, tell the rest of the board what the committee's thoughts are.
Yeah, the presentation was great, and that's probably why we don't have questions tonight. It was very thorough, and we kind of understood exactly what you guys provided. We had one of these that attacked some of the elementary schools earlier 2 years ago, I think it was. Whenever it was, and it didn't seem like it really dove in as deep as what this is, and this is what we were looking for at that time. So I think it was the Building and Grounds Committee said, this is exactly what we need to move forward in some of our projects, or thinking about it, and would like to hear, obviously a cost, and I think we have that cost now, and it's presented to the board, and I think we're ready to move forward to make a decision.
All right. Okay then. So is there a motion to engage this firm to do this study for us?
I'll make a motion that we engage this firm to do the study for us, and for the amount asked, 22.5, I think it was. Is that correct, all in?
Yes. Yes.
I'll second that with the superintendent's recommendation. We need to follow his recommendation.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion by Mr. Suttles and a second by Mr. Frank that we engage the Institute for Transportation Research and Education to conduct a facilities for, that's just a generic term. It's not all a facility study, but to conduct a study on our behalf. And the cost would be $22,500 for the optimization. Is that what you called it? The add-on package that gives us all the detail. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Okay. Just to remind the public, the board did decide some few months ago that it would behoove the citizens of the county if we looked further ahead than just our regular 5-year facilities study plan. And so Dr. Grit found this group from NCSU to help us gather the necessary information so that this board or future boards might be able to better weigh out the pros and cons of how McDowell County will grow and change. Just a real quick story. I got asked to speak at the opening ceremony for the new Northcote School, which is, by the way, 21 years old now. But in my comments, I tried to reference those folks that provided for the original Northcote School. And those people at that time, before electricity, indoor plumbing, telephones, and who knows what else, they knew that the future would be different. And so they provided for their kids and their grandkids to have a chance at a future. And so I'm looking at this in that same light. We know the future will be different. Where people live, what people do, how people interact with one another, how school is done. So I'm looking at this as a positive step to gather some information so that we can make good decisions now to set up a really good future for students here in the county. Now, I've said my piece. Anyone else have anything to say? All right, then. Is there, we have the motion. We have the second. We discussed it. I got to give my piece. People are ready for me to hush up, so All of those members in favor of the proposal, raise your right hand. And all of those opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Gentlemen, thank you, and Dr. Grit will be contacting you maybe tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We'll be in touch. Thank you guys so much, and I appreciate you sticking around a little while for us tonight. So thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right. Go Wolfpack.
Well, Mr. English, you know that they're celebrating on the square there. I think that was tonight at NC State. So they
Yeah, the
probably
bell
leave from there.
tower's
The bell
red
tower.
tonight.
That's right, tonight.
Okay. So we'll move on along, and the next is facilities update with Mr. Oliver, and he has an item that needs some action from the board.
Thank you, sir. So, Dr. Grit, Chairman English, members of the board, honored guests, school leaders, thank you for being here tonight. It's always my honor and privilege to talk to you about our facilities updates and plans that are ongoing. And I have a few verbal updates, and then we'll have some visual updates, and then we'll talk about the bids that we have for your consideration. You got your first look at it earlier today. So I wanted to give you an update on the alternative site project. Doors and lighting have been ordered for the building, and work will begin in short order on the facility. Looking forward to that. On the ESSER-funded kitchen upgrades at McDowell High School, the work began during spring break, as we had talked about before. When you met with the commissioners, we talked about that some of the work would begin during spring break. And that did take place. We had some plumbing and some electrical work that was done in order that the summer work, which will be short fused, that will be able to begin in a timely manner. So everything went well during that part of the project. We'll talk about the next ESSER project. I'll save that for last, and then we'll go through a few things in photos first, and then we'll talk about the bids that we have. So these are just the most recent updates. This is the gym at Eastfield with new paint. And Ms. Baker, thank you for these photos. Go ahead, Gary. Another look at the Eastfield gym. Nice and blue. It's going to look great. It's almost finished.
It looks really bright in there. Was lighting part of it?
Yes, sir. We had new LED lighting installed back in summer. Correct. So, and the next lighting project at Eastfield will be in the multipurpose auditorium area. It also has new paint and new flooring, but the LED lights have not been finished in that space yet. All right, can anyone tell me what this is? This is the new door buzzer at West Middle.
All right.
Has been installed and is working. So that was a nice upgrade for West Middle. This is a look at the ongoing locker room project at McDowell High School. These are the latest improvements. You can see the new LED lighting. Some new paint, not all new paint yet, but that tile is all new. And that's ongoing. The hallway as well. Everything's looking much better than it did before. The new lighting and the tile combined is a huge difference. All right, and then I talked to you before about the cooling tower at the high school. This was the last part of that project was we had to reinstall that piping that you see along the top, and the welders completed that project during spring break as well. That was kind of fun to watch. So that's an 8-inch pipe that reconnects that cooling tower to the facility. All right, and I thanked Ms. Baker for photos. I need to also thank Mr. Carson. I think he left, and Ms. Bennett. Thank you for your photos too. I appreciate it. So now we'll talk about the last project that you will have to consider with ESSER funds, which is the HVAC update at McDowell High School. And the reason it's listed as unfinished business is because it was approved when you approved Ms. Hamby's ESSER plan back in the fall. This was one of the main projects in that plan. And so now we have which allowed us to do the planning and go through the work to get to this point. And so now you received earlier today the bid tabulation sheet, which I appreciate Ms. Rampy working with Mr. Trinks to make sure that everything is as it should be. As you know, Ms. Rampy does a great job keeping us in line with everything financial, so we appreciate that. I appreciate Mr. Trink's work on the project. It's hard to capture all the effort that goes into the work behind the scenes that brings just the bids in for your consideration, and then all the work that takes place later on. But as you received earlier today, we did receive 3 bids for the project. The low bid came in at $1,085,144. So that was our low bidder. Our engineering fee was $65,000, and our contingency fee is $15,000, which is standard. The total cost that we're asking you to approve, and remember, these are ESSER funds, so the funding is already in hand. It's not coming from local dollars. But the total cost of the project in relation to the low bid is $1,165,144. And just a reminder of what this will impact is this will provide AC to all the CTE labs that have never had AC, and it will also provide new heating and AC for the gym. The gym has never had AC at McDowell High School. So this will upgrade the heating for the gym, but also add AC, which it's never had. That impacts the whole school. So do we have any questions about the bids that you were provided? Any questions about the tabulation?
Mr. Oliver, could you speak to the timeline and how ESSER funds work as far as we have to have these funds expended, encumbered?
Yes, sir, we do. And I don't pretend to know that process like Ms. Hamby or Ms. Rampy do, but in essence, the funds have to be committed by June 30th. They have to be spent by September 30th. And we could possibly have labor that goes past that date, but anything that's regarding resource other than labor has to be expended by September 30th. Has to be allocated.
Thank you.
One question I had, I suppose this work will be started after school is out, or?
No, sir. Some of this work can start before. It's not like the kitchen upgrade that the only thing we could do during school was what we did during spring break for the kitchen upgrade. Some of this work, since it's outside the facility, and it will not impact per se instructional time, or have less impact. I'm not going to say it won't have an impact, but it will have less impact to instruction. So some of this work can begin as soon as the project is approved and the folks know that they have the green light to move forward.
Well, was there a expected completion date?
Well, the goal is to have everything completed by August. That's the goal.
Good. Okay. Any more questions from anyone?
For me, it's always nice to see that the local
Yes, sir. No, that's always a bonus. I agree.
All right. So then, the floor is open for a motion to approve Pyatt Heating and Air Conditioning as the winner of the bid for the project at McDowell High School.
I'll make a motion that we approve it for the winning bid from Pyatt Heating and Air
Okay.
of $1,165,140. Sorry.
Their bid was only 1.085,
Oh, we had the contingency, right?
but for a total amount of
Yes, for a total
Correct. Gotcha.
contingency and engineering fee.
Right.
1,165,144.
Okay. So we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Shuford makes the second. Okay. Is there any more discussion? If not, all in favor? And all none opposed, so the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Oliver and Mr. Trinks, for getting us to this point.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Oliver.
All right. Okay. Next up, Ms. Rampy, our finance officer, is going to ask the board to take some action on the certified employee bonus. So describe to us what kind of action you need us to consider.
All right. Before I do that, I want to reiterate what the superintendent said about, I appreciate the meeting that we had with the county commissioners and the Board of Education. It was great for everybody to take out time. I know people have other jobs and things, but to come in early and let us have some dedicated time to be able to really explain our needs, I really do appreciate that. But to get back onto this is from what we talked about at the work session. This is the state supplemental funds that the state has provided to teachers to help with the teacher compensation. And we had paid this in May, and we have the flexibility to move that to June. We spoke to you about that at the work session, and you directed us to survey the teachers and certified staff to see what they would prefer, because there are benefits to moving that. Teachers are paid 10 months, so they are paid August through May, leaving June and July months without compensation. And so a lot of times they will open up summer savings accounts and things like that. So we did survey every school, and every school did come back all wanting to move that into June. So we had a lot of support for moving that to June. But to be able to do that, I do have to have board approval. That is in your packet, the updated plan that's in there, which states that we will start paying that annually on June. So we will not have to do this every year. It will automatically just be in June every year unless we decide to change that again. But that, again, that is in your packet.
Ma'am, gives me great honor to make a motion that we recognize and go ahead with the certified employee bonus. It's a pleasure to be able to help our teachers.
Mm-hmm.
We have a motion on the floor from Mr. Frank to approve paying the employee bonus in June instead of May. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms.
You can have it.
Ms. Helms, A-H, gotcha, has made the second. Is there any further discussion or any clarification needed from Ms. Rampy?
Okay.
All right then. So, all in favor of the motion, right hand, and the motion carries unanimously. Thank you, and thank you for polling the staff.
I really appreciate it. That was the principals really worked hard and got that turned around really quickly, so I do appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right. Next is correspondence, and Ms. Smith, Administrative Executive Assistant to the board. Is there any correspondence? There is no correspondence. Okay. So now we will move on to request to address the board And we have three folks that want to tell us what's on their mind this evening. And our policy says that we will honor these in the order they were received. So before we begin, we need to have a motion and a second and an affirmative vote to hear these folks. So is there a motion to approve the request to address the board?
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Ms. Mumal makes the motion and Mr. Abernathy makes the second. Any discussion? If not, then all in favor? The motion carries. So now we will hear from, is it Tess Parker? Okay, hang on just a second. Lynn Garrett, is that right? Okay, and Chris Wall. And all three want to talk about our book review process and books and book banning. So, before anyone begins, let me just tell you that you have 3 minutes to speak, and Ms. Dowdle, standing right there behind you, when you get down close to, say, 30 seconds left or so, she may whisper to you 30 seconds, or she may tap you on the shoulder. She'll give you some sign there. Okay. Now, we also need to tell you that it's your time to tell the board what's on your mind. That being said, we encourage you to be on your best behavior when you do address the board. Speak to us like you would to your children or your grandmother. There's a certain quality that makes it easier for us to understand exactly where you're at as long as we maintain that sense of respect for one another. And so that's all we ask, is that you be respectful in your remarks, not only to us, but to others as well. So now then, we'll begin. And Ms. Parker, you signed up first, so you get to speak first.
Actually, I thought about not doing this since I left my paper at home. That I had everything I had written.
Ma'am, let me interrupt you for just a say. If you could, pull the microphone down.
There you go.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
thank you.
Well, not hearing me is not something you hear very often. Okay. I left everything at home, but it doesn't matter because I know what I have to say.
All right.
First off, of course, as a retired school teacher, English teacher, I am against banning books, of course. I believe that the cornerstone to our education and to the future of our children is found in reading. I went through the list, and I'm just going to be honest with you. I about freaked out, but then when I got to the North Carolina list, I about lost my mind. So I don't know how many hours I'm going to spend on this in the future. But anyway, let me just say this. First off, I understand the fears that create a fear of your children reading books. I understand that. But as a high school teacher, the students that are in high school are ready to push the envelope. They are young adults. And I today went and looked up students who were writing about the book bannings and having responses to that. Several of the things struck me, but one of them was that the students see it as a lack of confidence in them as growing adults that they really are. I would give anything in this world if we could put people back in Leave It to Beaver days, but we can't do that. We have gone way beyond that, folks. And the best thing we can do for our students and for our children is to guide them through the questions they have about the society we have today. There's a lot of things that we get from reading, especially in the high. I mean, I don't know anything about elementary, but high school students, to me, in teaching my students, what I focused on the most was critical thinking. And that's what literature is for in high school, in my opinion. These children are getting ready to leave home, and they are going to be thrust out into a world that is full of all different kinds of people. We live in a very diverse world. It disturbs me that what I'm seeing in what's being banned is the fact that it's towards people who are different than us. Uh, all types of groups are being basically it's like pushing. And I know I've gone over. I'm sorry. Uh, I would like just to end with one thing. That is to say that I think that we sell our students short, but I don't think anyone has a right to take a book away from my daughter or my grandchild. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parker. Next is Lynn Garrett. All right. So. Okay. You may begin when you're ready, ma'am.
Hey, my name's Lynn Garrett. Can you hear me? Okay, I can't tell. I taught at Glenwood Elementary for 18 years. I'm retired, thank you, Lord. I too am against all of this book banning, although I appreciate what you're doing in the county. I'm glad I've heard all about that. But the Constitution, for those of you who know all about it, it gives us the right to free speech in the press and choice, and it also separates us, the church, from the state. Book banning is tantamount, in my opinion, to book burning, which was done in medieval times all the way up through Hitler and still is probably going on. And in my opinion, it's really more about fear and not wanting ideas and certain things to be revealed and or discussed. To me, it's very petty, and relevant ideas are out there in a public school situation. Public, which really people who are promoting this have no right to have a voice like this, in my opinion. The librarians have masters in library science. The teachers are choosing the books, the students to coordinate with their curriculum. And in my opinion, it slaps in the face. This campaign slaps in the face and denigrates the very degrees that they have chosen and their craft and profession as educators, assuming that we don't have the intelligence to choose appropriate content for our students. I just don't know what gives these people the right not only to interfere with a public institution, but the welfare of a very diverse community and the diversity of children. Children need books as tools. They need them to find morals and heroes and for excitement and thrills and laughs and to learn about history and other cultures. This plan of book banning sets us back so many years. To me, it's racist and bigoted and does not target the diverse culture that we live in. It's just not your place. It's not your place to tell me what I can read or what my children can read. This banning is a bully pulpit. It's unproductive and unwarranted. If you want to do something good, go in the classroom and teach a child to read or be there and read to them. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Garrett.
Got nothing but love for you guys.
All right. We appreciate it. Next up is Mr. Chris Wall, and he wants to tell the board what's on his mind. And Mr. Wall, whenever you're ready, you may begin, sir.
All right, I appreciate the opportunity to come and speak before the board. Thank you for this opportunity. Speaking to the board, the citizens of McDowell County, really appreciate this. And it is in regards to the books that are in inventory there at our libraries, and I would consider them pervasively vulgar books that are in our library. As the son of a World War II combat vet, the brother of two Army vets, and Air Force vet myself, I fully understand the rights and the freedoms that we have in this great nation, and the grit and tenacity it takes to defend them. I also realize that a free flowing river without banks will turn into a swamp. Our board has decided to follow an example from the Pico case, a case where there was really no precedent set. That's why some states have not been challenged when they removed inappropriate material. I would like to read the following dissents, if I may, from that Pico case. These judges, Justice Rehnquist, it said in the dissent, said in the very course of in the very course of administrating the many faceted operations of a school district, the mere decision to purchase some books will necessarily preclude the possibility of purchasing others. In each of these instances, however, the book or the exposure to the subject matter may be acquired elsewhere. They're not banned, they can be acquired elsewhere. The manager of the school district or prescribing, or the manager of the school district are not prescribing it as a citizenry in general, but are simply determining that it will not be included in the curriculum of the school library. The other dissent, O'Connor's dissent, it says if the school board can set the curriculum, select teachers, and determine initially what books to purchase for the school library, it surely can decide which books to discontinue or to remove from the school library, as long as it does not also interfere with the right of students to read the material and discuss it. Chief Justice Burgess dissent. In order to fulfill its function, an elected school board must express its views on the subjects which are taught to its students. In doing so, those elected officials express the views of their community. They may err, of course, and the voters may remove them. It is a startling erosion of the very idea of democratic government to have this court arrogate to itself the power and plurality asserts today.
All right. Mr. Wall, thank you, sir. Okay. I would also say to any of those folks that have spoken to the board this evening, if you have further comments or questions, or you need to clarify a point, certainly reach out to our superintendent, Dr. Gritt, by phone or email. That's always an acceptable avenue to make the board aware of your concerns. Okay. So we'll move along to item number 13 then, which is new business. And the only new business we have is for our board reports and committee reports. Mr. Frank?
I have no further.
Nothing from budget and finance. Mr. Suttles, building and grounds, nothing further. Curriculum and instruction, nothing further. Personnel and policy, nothing further. Head Start,
Always.
got a report.
Always.
Good.
Had the Head Start Policy Council meeting today. A couple of dates that they would love for us to consider being a part of. I'd love for the board to write these down to see if they could drop by. On Saturday, April the 27th, they will be having Dancing with Dad. These will be various male role models, obviously fathers, grandfathers, uncles, some other men in the community that have stepped up to fill that role. That will be from 12:30 to 2 o'clock, I think, at the Sugar Hill Center, I think. Saturday, April 20th is Healthy Kids Day at the YMCA. They'll be doing lots of fun activities there. On Friday, May the 3rd, at Old Fort Elementary, they're going to be having a preschool prom for their families. That is the theme for that is Out of This World, and it's from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock p.m. So those are those dates. If you go by the Sugar Hill campus, Sugar Hill location, they're for Head Start, not Early Head Start. You'll notice the pinwheels that are decorating the landscape there. That is in honor of Child Abuse Awareness Month. Those pinwheels are to remind us that some kiddos live a life that none of the rest of us could even imagine. I appreciate them doing that. Some good news out of Washington. That's kind of an oxymoron, but good news out of Washington. There was word that there was going to be a 6.5% cut to Head Start funding, but thanks to bipartisan support, which I think is extremely important to note, they were able to avoid that, and Congress approved a $275 million increase to Head Start funding, and it will provide an anticipated 2.3% cost of living increase. Still, our Head Start workers are still grossly underpaid, but this is hopefully getting them up to a place a little bit closer to where they should be. Looking for a instructional assistant full-time position at Head Start and a part-time custodial position at Early Head Start. But I'd also like to take just a moment of my Head Start report to share something that I had the opportunity to go to Saturday. Thanks to Jackson Daddle, president of the McDowell High School fishing team. He sent a note out to the board, and my husband and I went out and spent some time down at Lake James. My husband finally told me to quit asking questions because I said, "Oh, those are some big trout," and he said, "This is sponsored by Bassmasters, so they're bass." And so I just knew they were fish, and they had spots on them. So yeah, and then I had some fun messing with Jackson and Mason Brewer and asking them about their night crawlers and their bobbers and all of that. And I think they thought I was serious, but just want to give a shout out to that. And Dr. Grit, you shared this before, just about the importance of connections.
Absolutely.
And just to see that in that, Ms. Dowd will correct me if I'm wrong, but in that environment there were about 100 teams, 90 to 100 fishing teams, and just seeing kids that don't fit into any other group, but to know that there again, I'm just all about these male role models that are there with their bass boats and their trucks, and they're giving of their time. I think they've been out there since 3:45 or 4 o'clock in the morning. About 12 hours later, they were coming in. Out of those 90 teams, one of our teams placed second overall with a weight of 14.33 pounds. Another team placed fifth overall, 12.73 pounds. Another team, eighth overall. Another team caught the biggest fish of the day. One fish weighed 5.67 pounds. So that's a pretty big bass, not a big trout. Another team, just a guy by himself, brought in 11.9 pounds to the scales. Another 9.91 pounds to the scales. Another 6.03 pounds. Another brought in 2.56 pounds. Another 2.52 pounds. And then it went into the junior highs as well, the middle schools. And again, I know absolutely nothing about fishing at all. But we just got so excited every time another McDowell High team would come up. We were like, yes, this is us. So I, again, just want to express, and Ms. Daddle, if you'll share that with Jackson, how much it meant that we got to get to be there, to be a part of it.
Miss Silver, you didn't give a time for landscape yet.
You know why I didn't? I don't think I was paying attention when they said the time.
It's typically in the morning.
I think it's most of the day. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mostly in the morning. If you aim for around 10 o'clock,
April
you're sure to make it on time.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out and put that in a weekly review for you folks, all
Yeah.
those dates with times.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We'll put them in there.
The Old Fort date is May the 3rd, and it's from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock.
I've got the flyer for that one already, ready for you to go. Good question.
All right. Good. Well, I don't have anything in particular to add. Anyone else? I will say I do think that the other Wednesday morning was a very good gathering. I think both our board here and the Board of Commissioners were able to see one another in a more informal setting, and we're able to understand that both boards have issues that they grapple and struggle with and try to prioritize. And so I do think the meeting was productive, and I think some good things will come of it. I would like to thank Dr. Grit for kind of being the go-between, making sure that all that happened. And he's so excited he fell bass fishing, Beth, and
Oh, yeah,
Broke in a trout stream,
in a
broke
trout
his
stream.
kneecap. Okay. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, then we'll move along. Item 14 is our consent agenda, and you folks had all that information in your packet. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, or does someone have an item on that you feel like needs to be discussed and deliberated on separately? So moved to what?
So for the approval of the consent agenda as is.
As is, okay.
And I would second that.
Okay.
As is.
So we have a motion from Ms. Mumal and a second by Ms. Pupo to approve the consent agenda items as they were presented on the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? If not, then all in favor, and the motion carries. Okay. Now then, the board needs to go into closed session. And so is there a motion to go into closed session for the following purposes? To prevent the disclosure of privileged or confidential student information, to prevent the disclosure of privileged or confidential personnel information, which includes employee matters, and to discuss the terms of a contract for employment, includes discussing contract terms for new employees. Is there a motion to that effect?
Chairman, I'll make a motion to go
Thank,
into closed session.
thank you. Mr. Shuford makes the motion. Mr. Suttles makes the second. Any discussion? All in favor then? And the motion carries unanimously. We will move into closed session to discuss those items.